It's the first time I'm recording. Okay. So everyone, this is Debbie Fry, and she is the creator and owner of the Sponsorgram program. And Debbie is over in Waterloo. I was looking at the map to see where that is. And it's like in Ontario, like kind of like over by where you guys used to be, sort of, Maddie. She's from the Diocese of Hamilton, and I will just hand this over to her and let her share with you Sponsorgrams. So go ahead.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Can everybody hear me, first of all?
Yep. Yes.
Great. Awesome. Well, thanks first of all for inviting me, and I'm glad to talk to you today a little bit about confirmation sponsors and how we can help them do a better job of mentoring their candidates and sharing the journey with them. The first thing I want to explain, though, you're going to see a bright yellow background behind me with pennant flags that spell confirmation. That was something that I created, and I'm going to go ahead and share that with all of you guys just as a little thank you for jumping on and hearing about Sponsorgrams. I also do confirmation in my own parish, and I'm also the youth minister, and wanted to create some photo booth props, excuse me, because you've seen them at weddings and New Year's Eve parties where people pose with, feather boas and top hats and things. And so I thought it would be fun to set something like that up for the confirmation retreat. So when all the kids are arriving and they all have their sleeping bags and they're all kind of milling around looking for something to do, I thought it would be fun if they could be taking selfies about the retreat and pushing them out on social media. So I went in search of some props that I thought would be suitable, and of course there were none. So I went ahead and created some. And so I'm going to show you really quickly just how you can set up this little quick selfie station for confirmation if you want. First of all, you're going to see behind me the confirmation pennant banner. That's part of the package that you're going to get. And that's just literally, I just threaded a string through it. And the bright yellow background that you're seeing, that is literally wrapping paper from the dollar store. So that's all I did was take a roll of wrapping paper and I unrolled it and I hung up the little banner. And I'm going to show you on my phone really quickly just so you can see what I'm talking about. Hopefully you can see that, but that's, well, maybe lift it up a little higher. Okay, so that's how it looks. And with the yellow background, I mean, it really looks terrific, right? So that way the kids can be horsing around and taking pictures. The other thing that I was thinking about doing with this the photo booth props is I'm also thinking on the first information night for confirmation, I might set it up there and see if I can find a volunteer who will take a picture of every candidate as they're coming in. And so then I can get an individual picture like this of every candidate with their name tag and one of the props. And then I'll take all those pictures to Costco and I'll print them out. And then when we have our enrollment weekend, I'll make a bulletin board for the narthex with all the pictures of the candidates, and I'll invite the parishioners to each take a picture and take it home and put it on your fridge and pray for the candidate. And the candidate's name will be right on there on their name tag. And of course, make sure you have the necessary media releases if you want to do something like that. So that's another use for this, and they're just really kind of fun. Here's my little indweller because he lives in my heart, and they're in English and Spanish, which is important. And so I just created these props. So you're going to print them out on cardstock and cut them out, and the back is really easy, you guys. That's just a bamboo barbecue skewer. I literally just tape it to that. There you go. And you've got your pennant banner and your yellow wrapping paper, and you've got a little photo booth that you can do for your kids. So anyway, so now let's talk about confirmation sponsors. If you're anything like me, confirmation sponsors was something that I went back to over and over and over again. It seemed like every year I felt like I was going back to the drawing board and saying, okay, what are we going to do about sponsors? And we had tried just a variety of things at our parish. Unfortunately, I have a pastor who lets me experiment and try new things and see what's working. And so we had tried a lot of different things. We had tried service projects where the sponsor would serve with the candidate. We tried having the sponsors write a letter of testimony to the bishop about the candidate. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting feedback. Oh, wow. So we had tried those letters. We had tried something called the Jesus questions. That shouldn't be my phone. No, it's not my phone. Anyway, now it went away. We tried something called the Jesus questions, where we took the questions that Jesus asked in the scriptures, questions like, who do others say that I am? Who do you say that I am? And we framed those as questions that a sponsor could ask the candidate. So, well, who do your friends say Jesus is? And who do you say Jesus is? And we use these as interview questions, right? And we tried a lot of these different things with varying different degrees of success. And varying different degrees of participation. One of the things we would do is we would have the sponsor write a letter to the candidate, and that the candidate could read that right before bed during the confirmation retreat. And you would think a letter would be fairly simple. Like, you think that wouldn't be a very big ask. And yet every year it was like 50% of the sponsors weren't doing it, and I'm emailing and calling, and you know, I'm feeling heartbroken for the kids who aren't going to get a letter. Right? So it was just something that I always kept going back to. How can I find that sweet spot for the sponsors, right? How can I find that, like Goldilocks, not too hot, not too cold, but it's just right, just the right amount of engagement, where we're not asking them to be catechists, because they're not catechists, right? And I don't need them to be a catechist. I mean, I can catechize the paint off the walls. I love it. I'm gifted for it. God, you know, blessed me with that gift. So I don't necessarily need them to be catechists, but where I felt that they could help me is that they could help me take the catechism and make it personal and make it individualized, right? So for example, I can say to the candidates, I can teach them about the grace that was poured upon them the instant that they were baptized. And I can explain that in a really powerful way, but I wasn't there. Right? And wouldn't it be great if somebody could weigh in at that same time and say, as I'm teaching about baptism, and could say, well, you know, I was there when you were baptized. I was holding you in my arms. And now 13 years later, you're going to receive another sacrament. And that is going to be the completion of what the Holy Spirit began when you were baptized. How can I meld those two together? What I'm doing with the candidates versus how can we make it personal and individualized, right? So that's how I came up with this idea for this app called Sponsorgrams. And I went ahead and hired a developer and have spent over a year working on this app. And just so you know, I'm also a digital marketer by day. That's my day job. That's how I give to Caesar what is Caesar's. And I do digital marketing and digital consulting for brands like Carnival Cruise Lines and St. Jude Children's Hospital. And I'm very thankful for my work. I'm very thankful for it. And I'm glad that I can use a lot of what I've learned from that in my ministry. So that's how I have the background to even build an app like Sponsorgrams. But the idea of Sponsorgrams is I wanted to make it electronic, I wanted to make it digital, and I wanted it to, number one, tap the sponsor on the shoulder several different times during the preparation for the sacrament and just nudge them and remind them, hey, you should be checking in with your candidate. And then I wanted to help them do it well. I wanted to give them the language of faith that they could use to start conversations with their candidate. And I wanted them to be able to speak about some of the basic tenets of the sacrament in a way that was intelligent and informed, right? So that's how I came up with the idea for Sponsorgrams. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'll show you a little bit about how it works. Sponsorgrams is purchased by the parish. Okay, so so for example, and just so you know, out of the gate, the cost for Sponsorgrams is $4 per sponsor. And that's all in, so no registration fees or anything like that. $4 per sponsor. And so if you have 20 candidates, it's 20 candidates times $4. The other thing you should know is that the app will calculate the number of people who have activated it. And let's say only 18 of your 20 sponsors actually use the app will refund back the money for the people that didn't use it. So you are only paying for the people who actually use the app, which is important, right? So anyway, so the parish purchases the app, they get an activation code for their sponsors, and then the sponsor uses that activation code to register. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to show you how it works. And I'm having, let's see, here we go. Share screen. Okay, can you see a great big envelope that says Sponsorgrams?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. So this is in my inbox. This is my inbox, but I just wanted to show you. This is how it would come in via email. And you can get it via email or text message to the sponsors and the candidates, right? Okay, so ding dong, I get the sponsorgram. Time to send your first sponsorgram. Category 1, welcome to the journey, right? And then it says, this theme gives you an opportunity to congratulate the candidate on this important time in their lives and assure them of your prayerful support. Choose one of the sponsorgrams. So then they just click choose your sponsorgram. Okay, welcome back, sponsor. And then in here are these little e-cards, or, they're known as memes. I don't know if you've heard that term before or not, but that's essentially what they are. And there are several of them that they can choose from that they think is fitting for them and their candidate. Now, the ones you're seeing are only in English. It's important to know that the app is English and Spanish. All of this is available in Spanish, but when I registered that I wanted English. So that's why I'm only seeing those, right? Just so you know. Okay, so now here's the other cool part. So let's say I'm a sponsor. Okay, I like this e-card, so I'm gonna click on that. Okay, and look what just happened. I don't know if you can see this on your screens, but there's a prompt so that we're going to coach the sponsors on what they should write in their message. So in case you can't read it, it says, let your candidate know that you hope this time of preparation will bring them closer to God and his love. Also affirm that you are honored to be their sponsor and you are here to talk anytime they need you. Right? So every single category, they're going to get a little bit of a coaching message about what to say, right? So then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to type my message, and I've checked all my details, and then I'm going to click send. Well, didn't do that. There. Ta-da! So there you go. So I'd also like to then show you, if I can get back to where I was, I also want to show you what they will look like when the candidate gets it. Let's see, here we go. Okay, so this is what it'll look like when the candidate receives it. Again, either by email or text message. It'll say you've received a sponsorgram from Nancy Smith. There's the sponsorgram. And then there's Nancy's little message that she wrote. And then there's a reply button. So little Caitlin can write back to Aunt Nancy, okay? The other thing that you'll see here, you'll see a picture of a church. I give the parishes the ability to upload a photograph of their church or their logo, and then it will personalize it. So at the bottom it'll say, this sponsorgram brought to you by your parish family at St. John the Evangelist, right? So this candidate knows that, the whole faith community is invested in their preparation. So then the candidate replies, and they can go back and forth as many times as they like. So I'm going to stop sharing because I think that's all I have to show on that. But it's broken down into 7 different themes of confirmation. I tried to stick to really broad, overarching themes of confirmation that would work with any curriculum. So the themes of confirmation are the journey begins, the link between baptism and confirmation, a deeper belonging to God and his church, the Holy Spirit, service and social justice, the rite of confirmation, and mystagogy. Because the last one they'll receive 2 weeks after confirmation. And the one of the rite of confirmation, they'll receive the morning of confirmation, right? So we have the algorithm set so that when you register the date of confirmation. So it says their confirmation is May 1st, and then the algorithm will work backwards and send the sponsorgrams at the right time. You determine how often the sponsorgrams get sent, because some parishes do preparation over 2 years. Our parish does it over 6 months. Right? So every parish is different. So we wanted to give the parishes the flexibility to choose how often the sponsorgrams were sent. So when you register, you say, I want the sponsorgram sent once a month or every 2 weeks or once a week. We really wouldn't recommend more than once a week because we don't want it to feel forced or like it's too much in too close of a time. So we wouldn't recommend doing it more than that, but you have the flexibility of deciding how often those sponsorgrams go out. Another feature that got added, and it was a fellow youth minister who said, can your app do this? And I thought, that's a really good idea. He said, is there a way as a DRE or a youth minister that I can message the sponsors through the app? And I said, no, but that's a really great idea. You should be able to do that. So I built a feature in where you can message the sponsors 3 different times. So you could send a message that says, don't forget our rehearsal is on Thursday night at 7. You could send a message that says, we're on retreat this weekend. Don't forget to pray for your candidate, and maybe give them a call on Monday and ask them how it went. So you have the ability to communicate with the sponsors through the app. You have the ability to communicate through the to the candidates also through the app. So I found that that's going to be really helpful to you guys, because it'll help relieve some of the burden of managing all those email addresses and cell phone numbers, because the app is going to take care of that for you. And then that's about it. So when the app is finished, you will, all the sponsors invited to take a survey, and you will get those survey results. I don't even see them. They go directly to the parish, but that way you can assess how successful it was. It will also tell you how many of them used it, and then you'll hear feedback from them on whether they felt it was beneficial to the candidates or not. What else can I tell you about sponsorgrams? I think that's it for now. Let me catch my breath and see right off the gate if anybody has any questions.
How would you sign up for it?
You would go on the website. That's a good point. I'm glad you asked that, Kathy. This is not a downloadable app. This is a web-based application, and that's important to know. We did that on purpose because so many sponsors are senior citizens, and we were concerned that there would be apprehension about downloading anything into their phone. So we said if we make it a web-based app, it can still be accessed from anybody's phone or tablet. Or you can use it from your desktop, and we just wanted to make that as user-friendly as we could for the seniors, so we set it up that way. So you would go to sponsorgrams.com, and where it says church sign up, you're going to go in and sign up, and I'll need to know the number of candidates you have and a date of confirmation. If you don't have a firm date, you can set a tentative date and still register. And then you can go back in and change it later, right? So don't feel like you have to, oh, I can't register until the last minute because I don't know when the bishop is coming. Because if you're anything like our diocese, a lot of times we don't find out until maybe 2 months before confirmation. But you can set a tentative date, and then you can always go in and change it later. The authorization code, when you sign up, you'll get an authorization code for your parish. It is built into a document that is a PDF. And it's full color, and it's gorgeous, and it says, to assist you in your role as sponsor, we've enrolled you for sponsorgrams. Simply go to sponsorgrams.com and enter this authorization code to register. So then you can either email that PDF, or you can print it out and pass it out. There's also an email invitation feature on the website. So if you have sponsors' email addresses, you can just type in their email addresses, and you can notify them that way. So I tried to give you as many different options as I could in terms of getting the word to the sponsors. I know in my parish, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my PDF printed out for information night, and I will hand it to those parents, and I'll say, okay, mom and dad, this is your job to get this piece of paper in the hand of the sponsor. And after that, the sponsor takes it from there. So there you go, Kathy.
Okay. And can you add people during
Absolutely.
confirmation time? Okay.
Absolutely. Another question I get asked a lot about is, what about post-confirmation? Sponsorgrams 2.0, which is already in development, is going to include post-confirmation, and there's going to be a transition there where the shift goes to the sponsor. The sponsor themselves will enroll and pay for it. Okay, bye. Bye, Maddie. I just got a message. Bye, Maddie. Anyway, so Sponsorgrams 2.0, the sponsor will take over. And we want to relieve the parish of that burden. The sponsor should take that over. They will purchase ongoing sponsorgrams so that they can continue to be reaching out to their candidate for at least a year after confirmation. We also have sponsorgrams for our CIA in development. We've had a lot of requests for that. And another one that people are asking for, is there a way we could be sending messages to university students, especially that first year that when they move away, and to be hearing from their home parish. So the young adult ministries have been asking about that, and I think that would actually be a nice add-on as well. So there you go. Any other questions? I feel like I talked really fast, and I apologize for that.
No, you're good. I don't know. Does anybody else have any other questions for Debbie?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Lisa, are you good?
I'm good.
Okay. So what do you guys think? Got any feedback?
Jasmine, are you trying to say something? Do you have your mute button isn't showing. Yeah, because we can't hear you. So, yeah, she's gonna type.
She's gonna. No, the RCIA one is not out. It will be out next fall for next year, unfortunately.
Do you have like a newsletter if they wanted to sign up for, any new and upcoming revisions or ideas?
No, but I probably should. So as I come out with some of these, additional versions of sponsorgrams, I probably should get on that. So yeah, but I mean, at least in the meantime, Kathy, I'll get it to you, and maybe you could push it out to them and send them an email when these things are released.
Sure. So, okay.
So,
Meg,
okay,
do you
so
have
no more
any
questions?
Yeah, I don't know if Meg is there or just, I don't know. But anyway, well, I think if everybody's good and we don't have any more questions, I think we should be fine.
Okay, and as far as the photo booth props, I'm going to go ahead and get those to Kathy, and then she'll pass them on to you. It's a PDF, and you just put cardstock in your color printer and print them out that way. And if you have any questions, it's debbie@sponsorgrams.com. So you can always email me that way, or Kathy or Chris will know how to get a hold of me. Thank you, Jasmine.
Okay.
Well, it was great meeting you guys out in Idaho.
Yeah.
Kathy was telling me you guys have snow already.
A little bit high up in the mountains. And so.
That's a good place for it.
Yeah. Not down here.
Let's keep it high up in the mountains.
Yeah. That's when I love snow the best.
Exactly.
Oh, 40
degrees. Oh no.
Nice.
Oh no. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys will give sponsorgrams a shot. Do you guys think this might be something we would be willing to try this year?
I don't know if we can try it this year, but it's certainly something to talk to Father Mike about as a way of engaging our sponsors.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. You should know, Lisa, if you go on the homepage of sponsorgrams.com, there's a 1-minute explainer video.
Okay.
And it's, I put a lot of effort into that video. It's a pretty darn good video, I must say. And so show that to Father, and that should do a good job about getting him excited.
Yes, I think it would. Again, we have 51 confirmation candidates this year.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot.
It is.
So I just have to take a look at my budget and see if we can do that.
Yeah, those pesky budgets.
I know, right?
Right? Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so if the confirmation if the sponsor is $4, and is there a cost for the confirmation candidate?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
And when parishes talk to me about the cost, especially because some of them said, I had to turn in my budget last spring, right? So, a couple of things that other parishes have done is they go to information night, and they even will have by a show of hands how many parents and candidates want to use sponsorgrams, and would they pay the $4?
Sure.
Right? So that was one way that another parish had done. Another one here in Ontario, they went to the Catholic Foundation, which always has money earmarked for sacramental prep. And that's, that's almost a shoo-in. If that's what you're asking for, it's almost a shoo-in that they'll give you money for that. So, there was those, I'll pass on those couple of ideas as well in terms of finding another way to pay for it if you don't have it in your budget this year.
Okay. Well, I will certainly take a look at it and see what I can do to manage some numbers, and then see if Father Mike will approve it. And
awesome.
Possibly.
And like I said, mention to him that only the sponsors who use it are the ones you're going to get charged for, right?
Okay.
So that'll hopefully make them feel better that at least it's being used, right?
Right. And give us a good idea.
You're welcome, Jasmine, for making it bilingual. And the photo booth props are bilingual too. No problem about that. Including the train. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Debbie. Go ahead.
I was going to say I have a little training video that I did for the sponsors on how to manage the app, and I did that in English and Spanish as well. Especially a lot of the southern states, those candidates have sponsors that don't even live in America. A lot of them live in Cuba or Mexico and will fly up just for confirmation. So put a lot of effort in making it as user friendly as possible for the Latinas.
Good.
On the fee, the $4 fee, is that a one-time fee or is it a yearly?
It's a yearly thing. Next year, I'm going to have to start from scratch, and you're going to have to give me all those new sponsor names and phone numbers and email, and all that has to be reconfigured, right? So that's why it's $4 per year.
Okay, so it's an annual fee.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's pretty much what anybody would expect to pay for any app in the App Store, right? So that was sort of the price point I was trying to hit. If I can get the price down, I would. Unfortunately, I added the feature of text message, and that's really expensive. If this was email only, it wouldn't be. I could probably do it for less money. But then, you have the problem of people don't necessarily always get their emails or check their emails, or it's hitting junk mail, right? And especially with the candidates, 9 times out of 10, they're going to want to receive it via text message, right, to their cell phone. So that's why I built it that way, and hopefully it's still, reasonable for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, okay, well, great. And so,
awesome.
All right. So any more questions?
I don't have any.
Okay. Well, thanks for taking some time to listen to my pitch. I appreciate it, you guys. And if you have any questions, like I said, email me. I can also give you my phone number if you want it. It's 226-499-0440. And like I said, Kathy or Chris can put you in touch with me as well.
Yeah, I have that information.
Okay.
So, okay.
Okay, and then Kathy will be emailing you your PDF with your photo props. I hope those work out for you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a wonderful idea.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Hopefully your kids will enjoy them. You might want to supplement with a few, feather boas and top hats from the dollar store too.
Possibly.
It's Halloween, so you can get a lot of that stuff. This is when I spend most of my budget at the dollar store is at Halloween, because it's got the orange twinkle lights for confirmation, all that kind of stuff.
So, okay, Debbie. Well, thanks so much, and thanks everybody for logging in.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Jasmine.
Yeah, and if you have any questions.
Meg. Thank you, Meg. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on.
No problem. It was nice meeting you all.
Nice meeting you.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.